Today we're going to talk about a little thing called evolution. Now, evolution is the way that everything, all these creatures that you see around us, are here today. Wow! Animals like this one you see here, and this beautiful horse right here,
Look at
are
that
all results
horse.
of evolution. That's science.
Come along with us on this magical journey while we learn about evolution.
Science.
We found a real live scientist to tell us more about the method through which things evolve, called natural selection.
You see, all animals, organisms, they go through natural mutations with different traits, and if they're good and prove to be worthy and increase fitness, they pass them on to their offspring. And there you have natural selection.
What Mr. Science Man was saying was really intriguing, but I needed to get down to the real hard-hitting facts. So we found a man who is an expert on the one thing that helps animals to survive: fitness.
If an adaptation helps an organism to be more fit, then they're more likely to survive.
Gee whiz.
Okay, I'm gonna need a pen or something. All right, thank you. Got quite the variety here.
Just do it!
Fitness is very important for the survival of a species or an individual animal. See, fitness isn't all about being buff jacked, you know, like, this is really important. Basic idea we've got, fitness is you could describe this as fitness in the biological sense to some extent, but it's mainly a genetic thing, right? Our friend Garage Hellscream there, really
Your dreams come true!
These big sweet muscles, you know what I'm talking about, but you know, he worked a lot towards that, but we're talking a lot more about when you've got an animal that, say, was born with like super fast, speedy legs, right? As opposed to an animal that had just these like little tiny stub legs. They don't do much, you know. He's just there. He's just honking around. He's like a little, like, I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is. He's not having a good time though. This guy's fast, right? He's got his 2 legs.
Hey,
You would say that he has more fitness. He was genetically predisposed to survive a little bit easier than this poor little sucker right here. Look at him.
Incoming transmission.
Natural selection and adaptations rely heavily on mutations and other genetic mishaps. Mutations can happen in many ways. DNA replication and copying can go awry, as well as sexual reproduction, causing mixing of genes, which causes sweet new combos.
Science.
Bionic magic!
I just want you to understand how fast this thing would be. All right, it's crazy, and that's how centipedes came to be. This is an emergency. We have 10 seconds. What do you know about mutations?
I'm sorry.
I need answers.
I don't know anything.
How do mutations happen, Kelsey?
What do I know about DNA? People have it.
Great job. All right, so basically the idea is you start off, say we have a species of things, and they're all just rolling heads, right? You got a papa rolling head, and you got a mama rolling head, and they're real happy, and they have a little baby boy, right? His name is Suino Machino, rated PG-13. But see, something happens. Something happens when Mr. Suino is being born, or when he's being conceived, actually. See, I'm not really sure how the whole process works with rolling heads, but once you have a nice little embryo, he's got all his DNA, he's got all that stuff, because it's all combined from the two parents, but something happens. You know, say you've got this right here, maybe, I don't know, some lasers came by and just screwed something up. A bunch of pieces go flying, maybe some reconnect in some other places. You know, you've got like this bit just cuts out and goes all the way over to here, who knows. So somehow, just by chance, this destruction of the DNA and this rearrangement just so happened to create, you know, a little baby boy, right? And he was a rolling head, but now instead he's also got a little propeller on the bottom of him. And so his parents were appalled. They're like, what the heck is going on? But he's having a good time, because basically now this mutation, it was an error, but it just so happened he was fortunate enough that with this propeller, this little boy can now fly up to the highest apple trees and eat the finest fruits from up inside them that the other people couldn't. That, you know, the other predators that were, I don't know, lawnmowers, and I can't draw that, they would have run him over before, but he's flying high over them, going and eating those apples, and that's how adaptation works.
Science!
Evolution was like man's transition from boy to man. I didn't know that.
You see, all living things have evolved from a common ancestor. And one example or proof of this is that we all have similar DNA and similar amino acid sequences.
Again, I'm sorry.
Similar amino acid sequences, and the more amino acids that you have in common with another thing means the closer in relation you are to them. And I don't know what else to...
Okay, so basically, we're trying to figure out, you know, we've got an idea how life got to be the way it is, and how it evolved to this current state, but how did it start off in the first place, you know? Well, we've got a lot of theories, and the best one really available is that somehow all these chemicals floating around in the world that I'm going to do a great job of drawing, eventually they just kind of happened to crash together one day and started making things like RNA, and it kind of went from there. But it's sort of, you know, that it sounds good in theory, but what are the chances, you know? So the big thing was trying to prove that something like that would be possible. So these two guys named Miller and Urey, they came up with this little idea. They made this whole machine with like a bubble thing that looked really cool and sciencey, and it had a bunch of water in it, and like a heater and like some tubes that went around and did some other stuff to like another place. Basically the whole thing, it just simulated the early world, which was all scary and had loads of thunderstorms, lightning storms, etc., and lots of clouds and rain and stuff, which is, you know, this water, and I'm sure they evaporated a bit and all that stuff to simulate that. And with all this stuff simulating the early world so well, they ended up finding that yes, some of these things started forming together, these chemicals, and they made these fancy things, and it, you know, it gave us a pretty good idea that that might have been exactly what happened. Why'd you do that, man? The thing is that I tell all my students, evolution isn't just, you know, a monkey turns into a man, right? Eventually, you're gonna have a half man, half monkey, and that's gonna look pretty damn cool.
Right on.
I mean, science is a heavy topic.
As animals develop traits that are helpful to them, those that have those traits survive and carry those traits on to the next generation. Survival of the fittest.